Vibe coding in the AI coding space is beginning to mature like no other. It's been a debate for quite a while about what you can actually do with these AI coding platforms. Can you build production level applications? Can you actually take something beyond a prototype and have something where there are users that are also protected and a platform that you build to which you can iterate on and grow and scale? Now, the front end has been taken care of, right? Through your lovables and replets down to your more technical platforms like Claude Code and Codex and Cursor. But there was always a challenge with the back end, right? You have your Subabases, right? You have Convex, you have MongoDB, you have platforms that have been here, some that are a little bit more modern. But InsForge, which is what I really want to talk about today, is really making a dent in the space and kind of putting their foot down to become the Amazon Web Services of this agentic era, the agent native alternative to AWS. And so why that is so compelling to me is, well, first of all, as a long-term user of InsForge, I've been using InsForge since the early days. They've been a very solid product. It actually completely shifted my whole building process, because when I first started using InsForge, this idea of being able to connect your AI coding agent to your back end and actually prompt your coding agent to build out tables, to build out the storage, to actually build out your back end programmatically was something that made life significantly easier for the projects I was working on. These were web apps, mobile apps, desktop apps. But in the last several weeks, InsForge has really stepped it up a notch and has added significantly more to what they offer, and has gone further down their roadmap. And so that includes quite a lot. And so I'm talking not just database and authentication and storage, which is what they've been had, or even edge functions, right? These kind of like one-off actions that you can program your application to take. But now you also have InsForge sites, right? So they have it powered by Vercel. So typically you would deploy your web app or your website to a Vercel or to a Cloudflare or to Netlify. Now you can just have the InsForge through your coding agent deploy your site straight onto this platform. They also now have payments. And similar kind of concept, you have your coding agent set up payments for Stripe, but through the InsForge platform. What I'm most compelled by is their analytics. This is done through PostHog. Now you can see what your users are doing, how they're interacting with your app, what traffic looks like on your app. And typically you would go onto a platform like PostHog and you would set this up and you would have to kind of connect all the dots and apply all the keys and everything you need in order to have it connected to your application. But now it's routed through InsForge. So that's analytics, that's payments, that's the sites for deployment. They already had database authentication and storage. And I didn't even mention the AI gateway to where you can connect to a large language model. And you have the custom compute, which makes it significantly easier to keep your applications running on different computers and different environments. And so you may be wondering, well, okay, if you can use a PostHog or you can use a Vercel in an isolated way, and let's say you're someone who's like a more seasoned builder, why does it help that you have the option to kind of route it through InsForge here? Well, it's because of this notion of connecting the platform to your coding agent. So I'm on the installation page right now, and here are all the different coding agents that you can connect to the backend platform. So that's Claude Code, Codex, Anti-Gravity, Cursor. You have the open source ones, and then you have your personal agents like OpenClaw, and you can also connect other agents as well. I look at InsForge kind of like Supabase to Lovable Replit. To me, it's like InsForge to Claude Code or Codex, right? This is what allows you to take an application beyond the prototype, MVP stage to where you can iterate on it, to where you can really improve on what you have, get user feedback, and grow it, right? So the fact that you can connect your coding agent to the platform All you then have to do is prompt that coding agent or create, the talk of the week right now is loops. Shout out to Peter Steinberg. Create loops that can have the agent running on end. And if you have the ability to connect, analytics, payments, deploy, you have database, authentication, storage, AI, a gateway, all of these things within InsForge. Now your coding platform or agent can communicate with InsForge and manage the whole kind of end-to-end process versus having to sort of piece the different aspects of the build out together. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to do everything via InsForge, and I will be honest about areas where I think the platform can also improve. So, one area that I've become very familiar with over the last year and a half, I would say, is egress. So when it comes to long media, so say long form videos, you have where you store those videos, but then you also have when you download and you play them, you stream them. And so that it has a cost to it. And so something that I would recommend for long form videos would be a Cloudflare, to where you can host long form videos, but then also stream it and download it for a very, very affordable price. That's something that can actually start to become more expensive on a platform like an InsForge. So that's something to kind of just be mindful of. I'm not sure if that is an area that can be improved as far as like the cost structure. I'm not sure what InsForge's cost structure looks like overall, but that is one area where if I'm dealing with long form video, and I'm right now building out kind of like a content delivery network to where I'm going to be hosting a lot of media, and it's just more economical to post it on somewhere like a Cloudflare. But outside of that, pretty much everything else here, I am really looking forward to leveraging more and using more. So I wanted to pull up an application I've been working on. It's called Countable. It's a mobile app, a fitness mobile app that enables you to track your workouts, track your eating habits. So you can put in the foods that you eat, get the calories for it. And it also allows you to hold you accountable, with your friends and family. And so there's also an accountability aspect to it that's kind of social, to where you can post sort of like progress and check-ins for saying that you went to the gym on a particular day, or that you ate the food that you said you were going to eat that day. And so I just submitted it to the App Store, but I'm using InsForge as the backend for that. So that's what we have hooked up here. And so what I'm going to do is I actually want to, I have the, database storage auth already hooked up, but I'm going to connect the analytics through PostHog, and I'm going to click on open in PostHog, and I'm going to paste in this info to Codex. So we're just going to paste in the prompt. Here is the API key. Don't save it in the conversation. So, okay, so that's now running. And so we'll have the analytics then hooked up, and we're able to kind of leverage InsForge even more. And some other areas to just kind of point out. So something that's very big, especially as you get to launch, is the branches of the database. So you have different branches, right, through GitHub and Git that you can use for version control. But what about your backend, right? So this is the production branch. But what you can do is like you can have a development branch for your database, and then also a production branch. And so you're able to manage the backend in an efficient and effective way as well. This isn't necessarily a new thing, right? You can do the same kind of thing with like a Firebase, for example, with the Google ecosystem and other platforms. However, usually it just feels very convoluted and it can get complicated. One of the things I like about this platform here is that it kind of cuts out a lot of the fluff, and it really just gives you what you need and what really your coding agents need in order to, keep this motion that you're creating going. And so if I kind of show you, just to give a little bit of info on how exactly you go about connecting this platform, connecting InsForge in general. So I'm taking you to the PRD for the app when I built it out. So what I actually did is originally the plan was to have Codex build the whole thing out. I ended up having to interject quite a lot in the process. So it didn't happen that way, but I had a significantly kind of like long PRD, which you can see here. There are many different parts to it. And then what I did is I had an aspect of the PRD to where I mentioned InsForge, right? And I mentioned that we'll be connecting to the InsForge either through CLI or MCP. So in the installation area, all you have to do is copy the prompt that it has to the platform that you'll be using, in this case, Codex. So you click install, it'll give you a prompt, you paste it into Codex, and then that's literally it. You can have it as part of your product requirements document, or you can just go ahead and connect it and have that be a step that you do. And then at that point now, the coding agent has access to a backend that it's able to manage on your behalf. And you just kind of point out like what you're looking to do and just make sure the connections that are required within InsForge are made, like making sure that you've connected to like a PostHog within InsForge already, specifying the AI that you want to use for the platform. If you decide to go through InsForge for the AI, right, you have OpenAI, you have Anthropic, Google, you have image models, audio and video models now, which I believe is actually new. And so that's kind of how it would work. And then you now have a way of being able to manage both front end and back end. And then when you're ready to deploy, particularly if it's a web app, then you can just have your coding agent go ahead and deploy it rather than having to sign on to Vercel and kind of figure that whole nine out. If you're building a mobile app, which in this case, this is a mobile app, you do need your Apple developers account, or in the case of if it's an Android, Google Play account. And in that case, you'll be going through that process, which means that you wouldn't be deploying through InsForge. Same with payments, like you'd likely be doing payments through, I use Revenue Cat for payments for a mobile app. You won't be doing necessarily payments through like Stripe, right? It's not most likely. So that's how it works with InsForge. Let's see what we have with the PostHog connection. All right, so we're connecting up the analytics. It's going to do it through an edge function so that the PostHog key stays server side and is not exposed on the front end. And it's going to wire the iOS app to send events without blocking the UI. So let's see what it does. All right, so we've got the PostHog analytics hooked up, and Codex is just testing to ensure that it's working correctly. So it's running a local iOS build, and then we'll be good to go from there. So this is the updated version of InsForge, the agent native cloud infrastructure platform. It has everything you need now in order to build, deploy, and grow software. And I see it as really like the next evolution of backend as a service for applications that get built. So that's what I have for you for this one. Let me know what you think. Definitely give it a try. Link in my description to take a look at it. But with that said, this is InsForge. Stay tuned for a video on Countable, and I will see you guys on the next one.